He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we
get the
do?
people what they want.
NBA draft is tomorrow night. We're going to be discussing that, but we start with a bit of a bombshell report coming from the Low Post. Jonathan Givony said that there was a proposed trade between the Indiana Pacers and the Los Angeles Lakers that involved that man, Russell Westbrook, going to the Pacers along with THT and the 2026 number 1 pick, and in return, Malcolm Brogdon coming to the Lakers. We don't need to discuss the specifics of this trade too much, but what does it tell you that the Lakers are out here proposing trades that involve Westbrook?
That's the obvious. I mean, he's going into a final year of a deal. He's making almost $50 million a year, and their big three fizzled out last year for a multitude of reasons. LeBron played at an all-NBA level. AD dealt with injury most of the time, and Russell Westbrook struggled with his field goal percentage and his high turnovers. And so that's what leads to the coach being fired, which did happen. So now you bring in a new coach in Darvin Ham. I like what he's doing with his assistant coaches as well. So now you change the philosophy. Can we change the identity of the team because we have around 7 roster spots? But when you have these guys making this kind of money, you ain't going to have much flexibility. You saw what they did last year, and then they got older with that group. That's why you got to now try to get younger with that group. And one of the things, even if you're going to pair Malcolm Brogdon, for example, with Anthony Davis, both of those guys have something in common. They've dealt with injury these last couple of seasons. And so if you're now the Lakers and you're thinking, the one thing about Russ, he going to play every night.
That's a good point.
And if you stagger his minutes with LeBron, he's going to play well many nights. But Malcolm Brogdon, and again, I want to make sure I acknowledge these last 3 seasons for the NBA are the exception, not the rule. I talked about this with Kyrie. There have been 3 champions in 20 months. Normally, that's 36 months. That's time for your body to heal and recover. Malcolm Brogdon is one of those guys, I believe, when the NBA clock turns back normal, he'll be a lot more durable. Now, Anthony Davis has always had injury concerns. That's a different case.
So one of the things about this proposed deal is it gets rid of Westbrook, but it also, the only 2 real tradable assets the Lakers have are the first-round picks that come later this decade and THT. So they're kind of like cashing everything out to bring in Brogdon, and I don't see that this team is Brogdon away from competing for a championship. And another thing I was thinking, oh, wait a second. This could be LeBron's last season with the Lakers. If they have another troubling season like they had last year, if it doesn't look like the future of the Lakers is successful, is this an audition year for the Lakers to have LeBron long term?
Don't do this, LeBron. Don't make this an audition year. Don't.
I like this.
LeBron, other than playing with his son Bronny, where he put it out there, that would be a terrific opportunity. Who would turn that down? But otherwise, I think it's best for his legacy in particular, for him to ride it out, good, bad, or indifferent with the Lakers.
Oh, so okay. Counterpoint, would it be best for his legacy to, I don't know, go to another team that's a championship contender, maybe get another ring?
No, because that's not going to be perceived as one that he led the way. And he likely, if he joins another situation, that means they already have a star player. They already have a go-to player. So what, you want to put him on the Warriors now? Is that what we doing?
I'm not naming teams at the moment.
Okay, I'm not
naming teams at the moment.
I wanted license plate numbers. You know,
but I'm just saying, if they don't make the play and Anthony Davis is hurt again, you expect LeBron James to be like, you know what, let's run this back for a 3rd straight.
I expect him to feel like they got me. People want to come play with me and us. We'll figure a way to get into the playoffs. And once I get us into the playoffs and AD's healthy, we feel like we got 2 of the best players on the floor in any series. That's how he has to go into the season. That's going to be his attitude, because LeBron was killing last year.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, LeBron was killing. He was killing last year. He was putting the smackdown on these young boys.
Absolutely was washed king last year.
Yeah, he was
but
killing.
This question that we're asking now about long-term Lakers and LeBron is something that will be resurfacing month after month as we move into the midway point of next season. Mr. Rose, Bradley Beal reportedly opted out. of his potential next year with the Wizards. He was going to be a free agent. However, then he tweeted this. Wait, huh? Like, wait, what now? I'm a free agent? So whether or not that report is true or not, or what do you expect Beal to do?
You know, one of the things I love about this show is that we put on for the culture and we retire words. And one thing that ends up happening in the media with fans and people who cover the game, like they talk about these like it ain't millions of dollars. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is millions of dollars.
$40 and $50 million.
Right, like so
Yeah.
so like if you get jammed up, don't mention my name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He like, wait, ho.
I didn't say
I have
that.
not
said no to $40, $50 million.
I didn't say that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that now having social media, I'm glad gives players the autonomy to allow their voice to be expressed real time. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I don't see him opting out and leaving right now based on how I've watched him continue to double down on being in DC, embracing the players around them, embracing being the franchise guy. And another thing, embracing getting top dollar. You know, like at some point, like I remember, and we talk about building the Warriors dynasty, Steph's injury made him he was making less money than another all-NBA player like a Damian Lillard. So then when you looked up 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, like Dame was making substantially more than Steph.
Yep.
And so what you're doing now, if you're Bradley Beal, is I'm investing in me, I'm investing in the team. Now, if there is a landing spot that opens up, then I'm pretty sure he'll consider that. But I think that if this was poker, he'll stand pat for now.
I think so. I think he's saying, wait, I did not opt out because if you offer me a max 5-year extension, I will sign it immediately. Immediately. Somebody tells me that's the subtext of the tweet.
Yes.
If you're offering that much,
yes,
then I'll sign it.
Yes.
Jalen, it seems like the first 3 picks, we don't particularly know the order, but there's been a lot of reports that it's going to go Paolo, Chet, and then, of course, Jabari. I would guess Ivy maybe next, Sacramento. And then that leaves the Pistons with some decision-making to do at number 5, because there's a handful of prospects that they could potentially pick at 5. What do you think they should do?
I actually like this position for the Pistons.
A lot of flexibility.
Yeah, because like when you have a number 1 pick like when we had with Cade, like you got to make sure you get it right. And under the circumstances, like in our situation, we did get that pick right.
He had a great year.
So now Cade is a franchise player. He's proven to me, he's proven to us that he can be that. So now you got to think about what's going to maximize his potential, right? So is it either going to be somebody that gets him shots, which you hope Killian would do because you also took him as a lottery pick. He showed some flashes last year, but he still got to take clear leaps based on where he got picked. Or do you draft somebody that's going to be a bucket?
I think the latter.
You know what I mean?
You want the ball in Cade's hands.
Right. So somebody that's going to be a bucket that he can now feed. And so Ivy is a guy that's going to be ball dominant, but he's a scorer, right? And they would be dynamic going up and down the floor. But when you really look at the top 5 and who's projecting, when they talk about Murray, like we could use some scoring up front depending on what's going to happen with Jeremy Grant.
Yep.
You don't know what's going to happen with this situation. But don't sleep on the kid from Arizona.
Mathurin.
Yeah, don't sleep on the kid from Arizona.
He can shoot. And if you think about this, you have Cade and you have Bey and Mathurin. You've got 2 real shooters around Cade, not just one like a lot of other rosters have. But also Keegan Murray is a great fit because, as you mentioned, I don't think Jeremy Grant is going to be there in 2-3 years, right? Maybe not even there at the end of this year.
No, correct.
So you do need to build for the future up front outside of bigs.
Great options. Great options.
That's the thing. This is kind of one of the funnest picks because I expect Ivy to go at 4. But this one, there's a handful of players that you would make perfect sense with.
But also, like, are you betting on potential? Are you betting on somebody that you think is the most ready right now? again, you always have to figure playing alongside your best players. And I appreciate us adding Marvin Bagley, too. I think he's going to be a player that's not discussed enough, that's going to continue to ascend in the Eastern Conference also. So I'm excited about the 5th pick, and I'm happy to be at the draft to go represent.
You can see the mysterious Shaedon Sharpe go there, too. Didn't play last year for Kentucky.
Yeah.
Had a great high school career.
Yeah.
Jalen, when we discuss Zion Williamson, a lot of time the conversation is about what he looks like physically. It's just kind of something that because he hasn't been playing.
He's an athlete.
He hasn't been on the court, and he sometimes looks a little out of shape. Well, not in his new Nike promos. Mr. Rose, what is your reaction to seeing jacked Zion in these Nike promos?
Well, how about I told you? Like just yesterday.
So this is the old
those
Zion.
who watch this show every day and listen to the podcast, just yesterday I said when Luka and Zion decide to get in their best shape, they're going to be flirting with MVP. And since Luka is already steps ahead in not only leading a team, but also the Dallas Mavs continue to ascend, just like the Pelicans ascended with and without Zion, Luka going to be MVP next year. Luka going to be MVP of the NBA next year. Zion is going to be trending towards all NBA. Like, he averaged 27 points on 60% shooting, and you talking about he's not in shape. So that's just going to, like, so many players, as their career progress, they decide getting in shape and eating right and training is the most important thing to me. It looks like Zion has figured that out, and the sky's the limit for him and his team.
And we've seen this happen with a lot of athletes is when they retire, they kind of let themselves go. You know, I remember an iteration of yourself, Kangaroo Jalen, that you kind of let yourself go for a little bit. You look great now, though.
Your body hurts.
But
it ain't fun to work out when your body hurt from a tendonitis that you had in high school.
Kyle
It's just not
Farnsworth,
fun.
former pitcher, Major League Baseball. He's no longer in Major League Baseball, but he didn't let himself go. I'm sure you've seen these pictures, Jalen Rose. That is too jacked. That is too much. Look at those
I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you.
Look at him.
You know what I mean? When you look in the mirror, do you see yourself or your representative? He's proud
I don't see
of
that
it.
when I look in the mirror.
I am not mad at him.
I was like, look at those veins. You know what that seems like to me? You're in the gym too much. You need other hobbies. You can't be going to the gym 3 times a day, Kyle.
But here's the thing about
Have
people.
a hamburger,
I
Kyle.
just want to make sure those cats are agile. That'd be my whole thing. I want to see what that agility like. I want to see what he look like playing basketball. See, that'd be a perfect person I want to see, like, how he play basketball.
I want to see him eat a pepperoni pizza slice. You know what I mean? Like, I find so much joy in unhealthy food that I feel like Mr. Farnsworth is not engaging in that. Come on, Kyle. That's too jacked. Jalen, we spoke about Bradley Beal, his former backcourt running mate, John Wall, also has a decision to make about opting in or out of his contract, and that is something that we will discuss right after this. What is the future of John Wall and the Rockets after sitting out an entire season? We'll break that down after this. You're watching J&J.